Hey, hi there, Linda K. Gifford. I can't find my notebook. That sucks. Anyway, welcome back. I'm a CSA survivor. Many years of grooming and assault. I'm going to raise my chair because I'm feeling very low down at the moment. There we go. All right. So we're wrapping up a week working out of my SPADES program. S, the shame is not yours. P, separating the past from the present. A, asking for what you want, not just taking what's given. That's this week. That's what we're wrapping up. D, don't wait to feel okay to be okay. E, educate and advocate. And S, find your spirit. If you want to, you can throw the last S off, because I've had some people that are like, I don't believe in religion, and I can't seem to convince them that spirit and religion are not the same thing at all. But some people have been so indoctrinated that they think they can only find spirit through their religion. And so I'm going to expound a little bit, continue clarifying what manifestation really is, and why when you're asking for what you want, obviously the next step is getting what you want. And if you want to get what you want, you're going to have to do some active manifestation. And that makes people go, okay, you're weird. You're a hippie. That doesn't make any sense. You're believing in esoteric weird things. It's like, no. Funny is, a lot of people that say that kind of thing are actually staunch believers in one religion or another. I'm like, anyway, manifestation requires that you believe, but not in something someone tells you to believe in. This time you get to believe in what you want. So instead of trying to live up to somebody else, which is what CSA survivors tend to try to do, and I spent a lot of time yesterday talking about how we don't even know, most CSA survivors that I speak with, and myself until recently, I didn't even know that I had intimacy problems. I mean, I thought I had sex down. You know, I've been married and divorced 3 times. I didn't have relationships down, but sex was, in my mind, never the issue, except for the first marriage, which was actually the person I got along with the best out of all of them. But he baby talked and called me little girl, and that made me, I realize now, regress into, I didn't know why, but I felt like he was a child. I felt like I was having sex with a child. It made me sick. And that was all in my head. It was all in my head from my very real cPTSD trauma. And getting a grip on that will help you if you are having any kind of intimacy issues. Understanding where you lack development will help you to, well, develop, to go that way. Spots on my glasses. Spots on my glasses. All right. Anyway, actually, I have 3 of these for sale. I'm selling off the remnants of my mall store, and this, I have a red one, a blue one, and a purple one. Right? It's like a, if I can get up high enough, it can be a shirt over leggings. I wear it as a dress as well. Super comfy. Cotton made by Ganesh Himal, who give impoverished women work in Indonesia and give them an alternative to the sex trade. So do support my store, feelgoodfairtrade.com, please. And I appreciate any gifts that you give, because they are going to go to Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund, the rescue charity that I have founded to provide transportation to fellow victims of sexual assault and trafficking. I was never trafficked. Although if you consider passing me off to a cousin and a friend, I've trafficked, maybe I can count myself as being trafficked too. But it's funny that I can just sit here and say that now. Like in the past, if I had even thought about those events happening, about being shared sexually with somebody as a child, you know, I would have broken down. I would have had a cPTSD event. I might have blacked out. I might have dissociated. I might have woken up in the bathroom or closet and not know how I got there. That's what used to happen to me, because it was so painful that when my CPTSD when I would start to think about something that had happened to me, I would do what everyone does at first and swallow it and push it down and shove it down and try not to think about it. And that just puts it off. You're like a coil pushed to the ground. And at any moment, it's going to go whoosh and happen all over again. So what I want to help you do is what I finally did, what I finally learned to do. And I have a therapist, you know. I'm not just coming up with all this stuff myself. I read a lot of books. I have a therapist. I started seeing her 20 years ago and then took a huge break to raise my children. But then I realized after 3 marriages and 3 divorces and then 14 years of not feeling anything for anybody. I mean it. I didn't feel anything for anybody for 14 years. And after my last marriage, and we were split up well before the divorce, because I had to give him enough rope to hang himself legally. He was very violent, and he got arrested enough times that then he has no rights to my child. Again, I don't know how to pick him, or I didn't. And that was because I'm a survivor, and I'm used to trying to make other people happy. So it never even occurred to me to think about what I'm feeling so much as looking at how the other person was responding and trying to judge if I was doing a good enough job for them on every level, socially, sexually, dinner, whatever. You know, I tried to be perfect for whoever, and never once did it even occur to me to care about if, like my partner and I now, like if his just being in his presence makes me want to jump his bones, or something about his pheromones, or something about, you know, that's the way a person should feel about a person they're having sex with, in my opinion. Now, if you're a sports sexer or whatever, I'm not trying to be judgy. You do you. There's room for all kinds in the world. My way is my way, and I believe through my own numbers from talking with other people that most CSA survivors really don't want a promiscuous. Most of us went through a promiscuous time, or it looked like we did, but really what it was we were just freezing up and going along with whatever was happening because that's what we were trained to do, because we dissociate. And it's not like we made a decision to have sex promiscuously. It's like we just didn't make a move to not have sex promiscuously. And that, if you were that person who was hypersexual at some point, generally right after getting away from your abuser or when you're a young adult, that is 100% normal. That is 100% normal. Most people think a sexual abuse survivor would be, you know, well, if it was really happened, then you would be scared of sex and whatever. It's like, no, you're so used to sex that it's like you're not like scared of it. You're just don't have a healthy understanding of how it fits into an honest, healthy relationship. You know, I look so pretty. Thank you. I forget. I want to interact and I forget to interact. I'm brand new to this, you know, I just started this a couple weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. March 1st, I started a TikTok account and started my first thing. And I couldn't believe it. We had like 1,000 followers in under 2 weeks. And this is awesome because now we can raise money for Sweet Survivor. But really what I want to do is talk more. And I really want those of you who are survivors or partners or, you know, therapy or some kind of associated work personnel who work with survivors to please message me and set up a time where we can talk to each other. I just want your story. I'm writing an addendum to my book. I'm pretty darn sure the manuscript's going to be finished in April, thanks to the fact I broke my foot and I can't work my regular job and I'm going broke. But I do have my e-commerce store. So if you guys will support feelgoodfairtrade.com, my manuscript will be in the can by the end of April, and I'm really want to go with Steve Harrison Publications, and they like me too, but there's some stuff has to happen, and it involves money. So again, I feel like an evangelist. I need some money, but that's not why we're here. We're here to wrap up asking for what you want. And as always, every step in spades, every letter in spades will come up, because Everyone ties together. When you're asking for what you want, you have to remember that you deserve to ask for what you want, and that the shame is not yours. There's the S. And when you're asking for what you want, you have to put the past in the past, and you have to separate the past from the present, and that's the P in spades. That's very important, because otherwise you're asking for a neutral. You're just, most of us are just asking to survive. We're asking to not be hurt more. We're asking for the bare minimum. We're asking to walk in a room and have no one notice that we are people who have been sexually violated, because we still feel shame over that. So what we're asking for, we're getting. And that is what manifestation is. You will get what you ask for. I mean, that doesn't mean I can say I want $1 million, which I do, and it's going to appear. But it does mean if I want $1 million, that I can ask for it, put that out into the universe, and then my eye's on that prize. My eye is on, I will raise $1 million for Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund. I will do so. How? Doesn't matter. And we talked about that yesterday. Yesterday, I said, if everyone quit because they can't see the end of their journey, if they just didn't try for something because they don't know how they're going to get there, life will be very, very boring and mundane. Those people, and that's most people, they just kind of settle in the middle, and they're like, happy, okay, I'm satisfied, yep, and they make comparisons. These people tend to be very religious too. They'll be like, well, I get what I deserve. I shouldn't have any more than anybody else, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you know what? I don't care what other people's experience is. I mean, beyond trying to make it good and the best and the most fair that it can be. But I'm not going to compare myself, and don't you compare yourself to the least common denominator amongst mankind or amongst CSA survivors. Don't be the person who doesn't ever get over it. That being said, you're never going to get over it. So what do I mean by that? I mean, surviving is a process, and so is belief. We touched on this yesterday, and we're going to keep going on it too. Belief is the process of creating what you want. And that's confusing to most people, because most of us, including me until recently, I would have defined belief as something someone wants me to do. Someone tells me to do, okay, you have to believe in God or this church or that church, or you have to believe in blah, 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 whatever. It's like the closest people get is believe in yourself, right? But what belief really is a verb. It's a noun and a verb. It's a tool, and it's an action. Belief is something that you utilize, that you incorporate into how you think about everything, and especially about where you want to be in life, what you want in life, what kind of a relationship you want, what kind of an education you want, where you want to be. You have to point in that direction, and you have to put your foot in what seems like the next right place and trust yourself. And that is why so many people won't break out of a pattern they're in that they don't like, because they can't see the end, and they don't trust themselves enough to take one step in the right place. And all I can say to that is, this is where belief comes in. This is what belief is. It's not believing that God's going to save you. It's believing that you are going to point in the right direction, and that you have the skills and the mental, emotional resources to keep going. So, in writing my book and talking about manifestation and trying to explain this whole how reality manifests in a way that people can understand and not just dismiss as for the hippies, who are all about the weird stuff. It's like, no, everybody, you're all manifesting your reality. So, think outside the box. Everyone's going to try to put you in a box. They're going to try to keep that there. Like I said in my song Right Down the Middle, they're wrapping soft, warm blankets around my identity. They're wrapping soft, warm blankets. I'm cruising right down the middle of humanity. They're wrapping soft, warm blankets around my identity. Well, there's your 401k, and there's your whatever, your marriage, well, I'm not blissfully happy, and I don't even know what an orgasm is, or at least I haven't had them in years, or we don't even have sex anymore, whatever, but I'm not going to rock this marriage boat because what would I do? What would I do next? I know. It's like, if you are having less than bliss in your life, and yeah, everyone's got bad moments. I'm not saying leave your partner because they have a disease or because somebody's penis doesn't work or whatever. There's all kinds of ways to be intimate. That is not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying if you don't have the kind of connection with your partner or your job or your religion or your politics, or your gender, whatever, if you don't have a real honest connection to them, then you are living a pretend life. And that sucks. And that goes for everybody. But CSA survivors have this special, amazing ability to totally disregard their own needs and to try to do everything for somebody else. And it's not selfless. It's not selfless to give so much of yourself that you are not happy. Because the person you are giving to, they're only getting part of you. I would think, I truly believe, like, if I couldn't give my partner, if I couldn't return the same kind of love and passion that he has for me to him, then we wouldn't have a relationship worth having. It might be okay, but it's not as good as it could be. So you have to go back to square one and say, what do I want in a partner? Not what do they want in me? Now, hopefully, if you're in a relationship, you'll find that they are mostly the person you want, and you can be honest. And if you open up the honest lines of communication and point your cart, like I said yesterday, when you see that carrot hanging on your cart, make sure your cart's pointing the right direction before you try to get it. Otherwise, you're just going to be chasing down the wrong path, and you don't want to roll down the wrong path. And then you say, but Linda, I don't know what the right path is. It's like, well, welcome to life. Who does? Look for the next right step. Okay? The path is made up of steps. So just look at the two in front of you. You've only got 2 feet. Narrow your steps down to the 2. And pick one. Pick the best one for you. Not the easiest one for you. Pick the one that appears to be leading in the direction you want it to go. Do you pick the safety of the marriage you're not happy in? Or do you take the step into, I believe in myself, I trust in myself that I can do better in life, right? You choose. I'd go this way. Just saying. That's me. And that's not all I'm saying. It should be you. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it should be you. You should seek joy. Don't seek piety to the point that, oh my God, that's what religion does to people. That's why I don't like belief in religion being so tied up. When I talk about belief, people are like, oh, I didn't know you're religious. I'm like, I'm not. I'm not religious, but if I didn't employ belief and faith as tools in my life, I would have nothing of value to me. I'd be floating along, I'd be bobbing along in the sea of what everybody else wants from me. I'd be bobbing along in the sea of everyone else's agenda. So rise above and be your own agenda. Have your own agenda. Obviously, I don't script these things. I don't even have my little notebook today, although I generally don't much look at it till the end to see if there's anything I really wanted to talk about. Oh, that reminds me. Okay, I'm going to backtrack. I'm going to walk back. Yesterday, I said I was glad. Didn't see what the big upset was about Will Smith popping Chris Rock, because I thought Chris Rock was incredibly rude too, and blah, blah. But in thinking about it, talking about it with those I respect, I came to believe that one should not just pop someone in the face on live TV in front of everybody and all the little children. That's probably not the best way to handle it. And it's probably a bad thing. And every comedian this is Vic Tibetito. I really like Vic Tibetito. Sometimes, not all the time. He can be really sexist too. Sometimes he cracks me up. But he did say today, and I was like, oh, here he is. He's going to tear it up and be on Will's side. And he's like, no, he made the opposite case. And by the end of it, I believed him. I'm like, oh, you're right. You're right. You shouldn't just go around hitting people because they say things that are rude. We really should try to employ our court systems and stuff like that. That being said, I do not walk back or regret all the men I have hit in bars and wherever. And I swear to God, no woman has ever pinched my ass. I'm not being sexist here either or anti-other. I'm saying so many men have pinched my ass or put their hand on my ass or done something like that in my lifetime that I early on just got into the habit of just immediately turning and backhanding whoever did it. I don't even have to see who they are. I don't care what they're carrying. I don't care who's with them. I don't care if we're in church. No one ever did it in church. Okay. But you know what I mean. So I don't walk that back, but that was done to me in the moment and I retaliated, and violence may never be the answer, but we sure the hell employ it a lot as countries, nations, weapons, defense systems. That being said, I'm anti-violent and Willie shouldn't have done it. Okay, back to manifestation and belief. Belief has been hijacked by religion. And belief should not be hijacked by religion because belief is such an important thing. If you don't believe in your abilities to accomplish something, then your chance of accomplishing it are much, much less. Because if you don't believe you will, you're giving yourself all kinds of outs, right? Here's the path. Here's where I'm going to end up. If I didn't believe I was going to end up here with $1 million for Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund or whatever, then I might be going along and be like, I'm tired. I'm going to go off here now. Okay, I'm heading down the path. Nah, I'm going to go this way now because something got in my way. 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 So belief and manifestation go hand in hand, and they're both totally misunderstood. So I'm going to redefine manifestation. I actually redefined it yesterday, and I got thinking about it, and I ended up writing, this is like a whole chapter in my book now, overnight, about how manifestation, I think it's confusing and scary to think about creating. How am I supposed to create something? I'm not Samantha Stevens. You know, what am I supposed to do? You know, how do I make it so? I don't believe in miracles, or I do, but I'm not worthy of a miracle. Whatever. Manifestation gets you off in all these trippy head spaces that don't really apply to the way I'm using it or thinking about it. Manifestation, think of it this way. Think of it as simply removing instead of creating. Instead of creating, think of it this way. Everything is already. Everything that exists is. And if you want to look at quantum physics, there's a real good chance that everything that ever was or could be might also simultaneously exist. Who knows? Fascinating stuff. But in any case, think of everything that is. Okay, here's an asshole. I don't want them in my life. Boom, throw them out. This goes along with what I was saying about dissociate for good, not evil. You don't have to give up your dissociative skills. You earned them honestly. Your brain protected you and taught you to dissociate because you're a CSA survivor and you couldn't take being raped and raped and raped, so you went away and you dissociated. And now you're going to dissociate for good, not evil. And you're going to use it in your manifestation process, or what I'm going to call a demanifestation process. That's new. I didn't put that in my new book, new chapter book. So remove. If you see something that is not what you want in another human being, right? Like they're narcissistic, like you don't like the way they treat their kid or their dog or their grandma or their mom or whatever. If you see a red flag, don't ask me, don't go on Reddit, don't go on Quora, don't say, what do I do about this red flag? Red flags mean bye-bye. Go. Run. Run away. If you see a red flag, that person is not for you. By eliminating things in your path, not just people, also a friend wanted me to go into nursing once when I was looking for another profession. And I was like, I tried to make myself think I could maybe do it because there's good money in it and there was a need and it's noble cause and all that. And I'm like, there's no way in hell I can put a needle in somebody. And she's like, oh, you can learn to do that. You can. And I'm like, no, I can't, because I know me. So what I'm saying is there's nothing, it's a wonderful thing to want to be a nurse. I don't want to be a nurse. Therefore, it's not a wonderful thing for me. Therefore, I removed that from my path, and then I could see other possible options for my future. Remove things, and instead of thinking of manifesting something, the daunting task of creation, think of, I'm just going to kick out a bunch of shit. That's easier. It's a lot easier to throw stuff out. Throw it out. Throw it out. Throw it out of your life. And in the end, all that's going to be left in your picture are things that you actually like, enjoy, have faith and belief in a real true sense. Now, the act of manifestation has happened without you doing anything at all except rejecting bullshit. Bullshit. Okay, someone said I said bowl over here, so now I have to say it that way every time. Fuck what people think. If you would like a fuck what people think mug, the Sweet Survivor is going on the other side, and they will be for sale hopefully by next week. So come back, and soon I'll have a link on here to that, and I'll put it like in the bio if they'll let me or whatever. I'll figure out a way to get you a link. There's also Instagram and Facebook and YouTube pages by the same name, and all of these live streams that TikTok won't keep, I chop them up into bites, and I'll be putting them out like overnight and tomorrow morning before the next one. And then all of the long versions, the whole things, go to YouTube. So there's a library on YouTube, and I was doing this for off and on sporadically for a couple of years because I used these live streams initially I used them to bitch and vent about society and whatever, and because I was lonely in a pandemic. And then I used them to write my book to try to understand my own feelings, and then turned into recognizing steps that I actually, not steps, techniques that I actually employ every day, and each one is now a letter of spades. And someone's like, well, what does spades mean? I'm like, I just had to come up with letters that made sense, guys. So I just kind of looked at it, and spades popped out. And also spades, surviving in spades, and spades means abundance, right? So if you have something in spades, you have it in abundance. And then I was told it's not good to have a name you have to explain, and you got me there. So, okay, you win. Nonetheless, that's the name of the program, and it works. And it's not even a program. Just learn these techniques. Learn these techniques. And to a non-CSA survivor who's not falsely shame-ridden, they can be like, the shame is not yours. Well, duh. But it's a lot harder to feel that on the inside. Even though we can intellectually know that, it's really hard to feel on the inside. That's why I have that exercise. Might as well touch on it again because it is a technique that you should be using every day. You can be using every day if you need to, at least. I'm supposed to say trigger warning nowadays. I'm trying to be conscientious. It can be hard to do. And if you are a person who is easily triggered or self-harms or does destructive things when you are triggered, then you should do this with a licensed therapist, which I am not. I just play one on TV, or with somebody that you trust. Get into as peaceful of a mode as you can. But remember, this is the same kind of thing. This is basically cognitive behavioral therapy, only applied specifically, in this case, to thinking about what happened to you in the context of somebody else that you love. Think of a child that you care about deeply, or just care about. Hopefully any child. Hopefully you feel that way about everybody. But think of them being violated in the way that you were, at the age that you were. You see? I said trigger warning. I just... And you will know in your heart that it was not that child's guilty fault. That they're not at guilt. I'm practicing my own program, my own things here. When I get a CPTSD thing, because I thought about what happened to me and I saw it clearly and it started to take over and it became like a video playing right in front, in the same space I am. And then I told myself, I'm talking to you and I'm here and it's 2022 and my name is Linda K. Gifford and I'm a survivor and this is the past, and now it's gone. I'm a little teary-eyed, but you know what I didn't do? I didn't do what I used to would have done and jump down the rabbit hole at crazy. That wonderful wonderful rabbit hole. I didn't jump down the wonderful rabbit hole of crazy. And that's what I want you to not do. I want you to not, like right now in the past, I would be like so upset that I would force myself not to think about it. And then I'd be so upset, but not conscious of why I'm upset because I'm really good at dissociating and pushing it all back in. And then I'd be like, I just need to drink. I just need to get drunk. And then I would get drunk. And I was that kind of drunk that like nobody would really realize I was a drunk so much as just kind of consistently self-medicating. And I still enjoy alcohol. I don't believe, that a person necessarily, if they've had a problem with alcohol, has to give it up. For me, it was recognizing why I was using it and stopping it. So that exercise, it's painful, but you will feel in your heart, again, why it's not your fault. Because if it couldn't be that other child's fault, if they couldn't be guilty, how could you be? So remember that. And I wish that you could just say it once and it'd be over with. And that's not the way it is. It's something that you'll tell yourself every day. But I do promise you that if you do trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, and don't let that scare you, that just means take a quiet, peaceful time. Again, you might need someone with you. You might want, make sure you're peaceful. Make sure you've got a backup if you need it. And think about what happened to you instead of not thinking about it. Instead of spending your life trying not to think about it, think about it. And draw it, write whatever comes to mind, draw whatever comes out on paper, paint it, whatever your medium is, do something that makes it tangible in a symbolic way, letters, artwork. And then what happens is your left brain sees it and it reprocesses. Your left brain is going to reprocess these jumbled up CPTSD event triggers, smells and sights and sounds and things that hit you and you don't even know why or when half the time. But by reliving your experience consciously in your mind in trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy and taking that step to put it into a medium, that literally makes your left brain now address it in a grown-ass way. And I'm reiterating what I said yesterday, but now you can look at it historically, anthropologically, figuratively. Now you can have a conversation about it. You can write a paper about it. You can even go on TikTok and talk to people about it without being ashamed to go in public again, because now everybody knows. And that is huge. When I first, when my second husband first told people, because it came up in marriage counseling, and then our counselor said she didn't want to see him anymore and that he was a pathological liar, and it turned into sexual abuse counseling for me, which I would prefer you call assault, because there's no such thing as sexual abuse. If you've been raped, you've been assaulted. And using weak words makes weak responses, so choose your words carefully. But in doing he told all he let it be known, kind of as a, well, the marriage is breaking up because of her, because she's fucked up. You know, it's all, and trying to blame it all on my past history of sexual abuse, but now everybody knew. And I'm a musician who at the time was playing out regularly in my region, my town and my region. And I got ashamed to talk to anybody. I could hardly play. You know, I went through the motions for a while and then I quit playing for, basically I've only sat in since then, and I'm going to get back out and play now. But I was so humiliated now that everybody knew my dirty secret. And that was, I see now, that was 20 years ago when I started this, that counseling and started with my therapist, who I still see, or I see again rather. Nobody should have to be afraid to walk in a room because somebody else assaulted them. It hurts, and it shouldn't. It hurts me thinking about it now that I've wasted so many years of my life. Not wasted, but I have hidden away for years now because of this. And it's only been since the blackout I had 2 years ago that started me writing, just for my sanity's sake, that led to the Facebook post so I could torture my ex-brother-in-law for what he did to me and finally be honest about it, and which led to 7,000 people reading that post within 3 weeks, which led to a potential book deal that I'm like, see what opening up painful doorways can do. You may not get a book deal out of it, but you may end up in a better situation. You may let go of some shame and some regret, and you may learn that it's important for you to educate and advocate, which means you may change the future for somebody else. And that's what you need to do. That's what I want you to do. That's what this is all about. It's about your future, but it's about these other people, because as a survivor, I have a hard time. I'm sorry I'm getting all emotional today, but I don't mind being emotional, actually. My emotions drive me on, and I don't want them drugged out of me, and I don't want them suppressed out of me. I use all my forums to educate and advocate so that I can make a real change. And I'm just so excited that I just got cleared for live gifts, because now this is another way that we can raise money for Sweet Survivor. So please do support Sweet Survivor, and I'm going to have a subscription back up. I started a subscription. I changed companies and reworking the whole website. And in a perfect world, it should be up Sunday night, Monday morning, the sweetsurvivor.com website. Right now, sweetsurvivor.com will take you to my store, feelgoodfairtrade.com, which is also a great place to support women and men and others and everybody. It's actually women, family, and community artisans that we buy from. And we buy it outright, and we communally do this as me and other fair trade retailers in this country. We purchase together from a fair trade warehouse in America, so we can ship in 3 to 5 days, but we're still supporting actual humans. That I always tell people, you know, if you want to know who is making what you are buying, like, I can hook you up with, if not the actual artist, maybe even them, I can definitely hook you up with the company that makes them, that you can even communicate. You know, we know our suppliers. We're not buying from third parties in China. We're supporting women, families, and communities. And I focus on pushing the products of people who are being rescued from a life of sex work or poverty, or have been trafficked and have been rescued and are now being taught a trade. So, do good in the world. That's what I'm saying. And you will feel better about yourself. And if I didn't continually educate and advocate, then I would have way too much time on my hands to think about the negative things and let it bring me down. So someone told me I must be miserable because I'm fighting all the time. And it's like, no. If I wasn't fighting all the time, then I would be miserable. Because the fight, you know, another thing same person said was, you know, you can't change this before you die. I'm like, well, medicine's getting better. But my point is, so that's not the point. Society doesn't change in leaps. It changes in votes. It changes in increments. It changes in attitudes and hearts, one by one by one. So work on yours. Work on yours. First, love yourself. S, the shame is not yours. And then learn to separate the past from the present so you can get on with the future. And when you're getting on with the future, I want you to ask for what you want and not just take what's floating around in life for you. You can create, but if you just accept, you're just going to be bobbing on the waters. You're not going to rise above. Rise above, because this is your life. And then, now that you've risen above and you realize how great life can be, then go out there and live it. Don't wait to feel okay to be okay. Don't wait until everything's perfect. Don't wait until you've got perfect forgiveness in your heart or you have no feelings of hate for anything. Take what you've learned, take what you want and the new direction that you are pursuing, and go do it. And while you're doing it, educate and advocate all along the way. All along the way. So that you can bring others along and change the world for the better in the time you've got on it. And speaking of the time you've got on the world, in the world, remember, and this will bring you right back up to the first S, although we hadn't done this last S yet. Remember, I'm not sure how I'm going to say. Remember that your body can't be ruined by anything that's ever happened to it, by any body part that's missing from it, by anything on you that doesn't work, by your colostomy bag, by your paraplegic state, whatever. Your body is a vessel for you. You are your mind, your soul, your body is just what it got put in. Get myself all worked up. And that leads us to spirit, the last S. I don't expect anyone to find religion, and I kind of hope you don't. And if you have found it, maybe you want to re-examine that and think of it at least in a holistic way and realize that your religion is an expression of love and goodness and kindness, hopefully. Most religions have at least at the point before it got turned into a power trip by people at the top who just want to control everybody. There was a basis of trying to understand how the world works, trying to understand why people live and die. Religion came about before it got fucking hijacked by power. Religion was about love and goodness and kindness. And that's the part that should still be, and that you should still find in every religion. So instead of fighting about what religion is, I mean, why don't you just accept and look for the love and the goodness and the kindness in other people's religions and not care what they're wearing on their head or not wearing on their head and not care about that kind of thing. That being said, I wasn't going to go here, but I have to now because I said that. Do not respect cultures that disparage against women and others. You do not have to respect a culture that does not allow everybody an equal say in their life. You do not have to respect a culture who arranges marriages. You do not have to respect a culture that says it's okay to marry your stepdaughter if you want to fuck her. You do not have to embrace and accept and respect a culture who would marry a 14-year-old to a 40-year-old and make her go live in the middle of the woods until a second wife comes along and pop out babies so that you can trade the daughters for cattle. Do not trade your daughter for a cow. Do not respect cultures that don't let women go to school. So I have had this battle with so many women that it's shocking to me. How can you live in a world where people are so heavily disparaged against and not try to change it? How? I don't get it. So, as I was saying, you don't have to lose your anger. You have to direct it. You have to realize that your anger is an offshoot of your disgust, of your trauma from your experience. Your anger is your realizing that what is happening isn't right. So once you realize that what is not right, what's the next step? Fill in the blank. Right. You make the next step right for the next person that you can. You just keep trying to improve things for other people. That's the next step. So when you're asking for what you want, don't forget to ask for what you want on a holistic sense. Ask for what you want for other people. Ask for what you want for other survivors. Ask for what you want for other countries, women and others. Ask for what you want for the world and the planet. And make sure that everything you're doing, everything you're purchasing to the best of your ability, the way you're contributing to the world, be it emotionally, monetarily, or with your physical toil, just try to make sure that on every level you are asking for what you want and pointing that dangling carrot, because you can't get it right away. You have to work to get to the carrot. Point the cart and the carrot in the right direction for yourself, for other survivors, and for the world at large. And it will get better. It can't not. See, that's manifestation. That's belief. I believe in my ability to make my life better. I believe in my ability to make your life better. I believe in my ability to raise $1 million and buy tickets for people and get them out of trouble. And I believe in my ability to make a system, a worldwide system that connects these dots between hotlines and places to go. And I believe, and you know what? If I didn't believe in any of those things, you know what the chance of them happening would be? 0. Maybe not. I'm close to 0, at least for me. You have to believe, but not in something. You have to believe in belief. The power of belief. Now, usually people say in something. In what? No, just stop there. Believe in the power of belief. Have faith in the power of belief. Faith and belief are awesome things. Just take them back from religion. And religion isn't a bad thing either. Just take it back from power and you'll all be fine. Whew, I got myself all worked up here today. All right, I'm going to let you go because I've got a lot of work to do on the website and the store. Please go to feelgoodfairtrade.com. Please leave gifts for Sweet Survivor. Please do come back and start a subscription when I have it up over the weekend. At the end of the weekend. So, because that's what I said last week, but it's been a lot going on. But we're so close. So close. And I'm so excited because I used to be upset and always live in the moment of, I didn't get this done. I've got to do this and just be stressed. And now I'm taking time to go, okay, we're on the right track. Okay, that happened. Yep, it's not perfect, but we put a notch in the belt. We headed in the right direction. So take time to reward yourself for the progress you are making instead of kicking your own ass for not being where you want to be. And realize that what is at the end of the path, that thing you want, that you've defined that you want, you may not be able to see it yet. That's okay. Just go that way. Keep going that way. Don't be scared to take your path because you can't see the end. I mean, how many great paths have you been on that you could see the end? You know, I've gone up many a mountain. I trusted that I would get to a great view at the top, but I didn't see it on the way. There was a whole lot of, blisters and cold and hot and sweat and tripping and a few twisted ankles and whatnot. But in the end, there was a beautiful view every time. So I'm going to talk to you tomorrow, and we will wrap up asking for what you want.